is what it ain't, y'all. Welcome back to an all new episode of A Story to Tell with your boy Mitch King. That is me, in case you didn't know. And this is just a show where I like to tell the crazy stories of my life and the crazy stories of the internet. It's been, y'all know what I'm about to say. It's been a minute. Y'all already know that I'm gonna say it, and that's why I wanted to come do this video today, because it's just like, I've been missing in action. And if you follow the network, then you know I haven't been posting like that on the network, because it's just like, it was a lot. It was a lot going on, and there was a lot going on in life. And I just wanted to take a break. And I feel like sometimes when it comes to this media, social media shit, like, some of y'all don't take breaks. Some of y'all don't take breaks. Some of y'all don't stop reading the DMs. Some of y'all don't stop reading the criticism. And, some of y'all just be on it all day. And it's just like, it's time to get back to reality. And that's where I'm at today. And I just wanted to record, some real raw, no fancy things, a little bit more light in it, just so, because it's a new day. It's a new day. But I'm sitting here working on one of my hats. If you guys don't know, I used to make hats. I used to make clothes and stuff like that. And that's probably one of my stories for today. But yeah, when I was 15, my parents bought me a sewing machine. And so I kind of we all took that, some of us took that sewing class in high school, or the home ec class for my people of a certain age. Just using a little bit of masking tape. And I'm just doing I'm trying to do a little pinstripe design. So, but this masking tape is huge. I'm used to getting the skinny one, but they gave me this one, and I'm gonna just use it or whatever. But yeah, so my parents bought me a sewing machine, and after taking that home ec class, I learned how to sew that pillow, and then I got me one at home, and I sewed a pillow, and then I started taking stuff apart and sewing it and whatnot. And yeah, that's exactly how I started, and then I started getting paint and being oh, how can I paint my clothes? So I would paint pinstripes on jeans, or then I started sewing stuff, sewing actual pants, and but I didn't know what I was doing. So it was just a free for all of, I didn't have no pockets. I used to wear my wallet and my my chapstick and keys in my waistband of my underwear. And that's how I would wear it all day. Then when I had got to college, I used to hand paint shirts with people's names on it. Cause we was on the track team, we all had nicknames, hence the reason where Mush came from. And I've been Mush ever since. And shout out to Link University. It is our 20th year anniversary of us graduating this homecoming, and hopefully I am there. But the way them hotel prices are set up, I might have to rent a car and stay in Philly, because this tape actually sucks, and I might have to go to Home Depot today and go get real tape, because this is not even sticking. All right, and I thought I got plain back hats. I didn't mean to get the mesh back ones, because I'm trying to stay away from that, but I guess it is getting hot. Oh, that really sucks that that's not working out like that. Anywho, yeah, so I used to hand paint hats, hand paint t-shirts and stuff like that with people's names on it, or different designs, just different stuff over time. And the name of the stuff I used to make has changed. Back in the day, it used to be oh my goodness, Ducky Designs, because my real name, and people used to call me Ducky. But yeah, and then it was when I got to college, I started being Mush, and then so people used to call me Mushe, to make it fancy and all that. So I used to call it Mushe International, and then it went to Mushe Jeans. People still have me saved in their phone as Mushe Jeans. And so that's when I was really customizing stuff. And at the time, there was a brand called Miss Skeen, based out of Philly, and they used to hand paint designs on t-shirts. So I had sent them this early internet. So I had sent them an email and being like, oh, I hand paint shirts too. And they were like, oh, bring your portfolio and all of that. And, we could possibly get you an internship. Bro, why on the day of the person I had who was supposed to give me a ride car broke down? So I wasn't able to go. So that was kind of like the first kind of like, damn. So, when I graduated from college, I went to New York. I was just like, bro, I'm going to take every and any opportunity that I could. And that led me to taking some bullshit ass like modeling job. Like I used to scout models. It was the stupidest, scammiest shit. But it was in a really nice building. And like, I used to be like, what do the other people in this building do? Because it was like a co-working shared space. This was early like co-working spaces, but it was downtown in Tribeca, and it was across the street from Jay-Z and Beyonce's like little condo that they had. And so sometimes we'd be standing out there and you would see like the gate open and they would come out in the Maybach with the curtains and shit. Like one day they stopped and waited when they were like going in when we were standing out there late night. So but yeah, when I worked at the scouting place, like I used to be some bullshit. But then one day I saw these black dudes in the elevator. I was like, what are y'all doing here? And they was like, we run a magazine. And so I was like, bro, if you ever need an intern, like let me know, like da 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 da, I do this. And so they were like, okay, cool, like we'll hit you up. And so they hit me up. I started working there, traveled, drove across the country 4 times with them. Shout outs to Ray and Jay. And yeah, and then when I came back, like it's like I didn't work with them anymore, and so I just started doing my own thing. So I started like customizing hats and stuff like that, and I would get on Twitter and reach out to every stylist that I knew. And this is back when like magazines were still in, so I would reach out to all the magazines, look up who's the editor and look them up and try to reach out to them like, hey, this is also the time when like creatives used to do submissions for like shoots to different magazines. So maybe like a stylist gets up with a photographer, who gets up with a hair person, who gets up with a makeup artist. Like they all get together and do this shoot to submit it, and then all their credentials are listed. So like I used to be hitting up stylists who did that and be like, hey, I have some pieces, like do you need anything? And I would just send them pictures. And then so I had made a whole bunch of shit, and I did that with this magazine. The first one actually was a homegirl of mine. Shout out to Hope. Hope was styling something for a shoot in some back to school spread. And yeah, I gave her one of my sweaters, and then it came back and I saw that picture. Like I was like, oh my God, like I'm gonna try to insert it in here. But yeah, that picture, I was just like, oh my God, look at my stuff on white models. I was like, this is crazy. This is crazy. So then, yeah, so then I was doing that. And then I had made a hat one day. I went to Home Depot and got screws and painted them and then sewed them onto the hat with my logo. And I remember wearing that out to the bar, and the bartender was like, where'd you get your hat from? I was like, oh, I made it. He was just like, do you have a website? I was like, no, this is the first one. Like, I'm going to have it on my website soon. And he was like, oh, man, I'll buy that off your head for $100. And I'm just like, what? I didn't think he was serious. But when I was leaving the bar, the bouncer was like, oh, the bartender wants to see you. And I'm like, did I not pay my bill? So when he dragged me back in, I was just like, oh, snap. Like, did I not pay? And he was like, no, I wanted to buy your hat. And gave me like a crisp $100 bill. I gave him the hat. And I just remember being so happy, like, damn, like, and at that time I was selling my hats for like $20. And I'm like, someone bought this off my head for $100, and I'm out here selling my shits for 25 and 40. Like, get out of here. Like, and so like, then I tried to start really ramping up, my thing. And then, some of my designer friend called me, and he needed pieces one day for a shoot. And y'all, the day I got fired from my job, he called me and was like, Mush, like I'm doing a shoot here. Do you think you can come and bring some of your pieces? I was like, sure. So the day I got fired is the day I shot the shoot. I mean, the day I had a shoot, and that shoot ended up being in Vogue Italia, like Vogue, the magazine. So that was on a high too, but that was also a point where I was like, okay, like I know my shit gonna skyrocket from here. And it didn't. It really didn't. And it's just like, there have been multiple times in my career where it's just like, even the $100 hat, I sit here and think about that today. It's just like, I didn't have no patent. I didn't have nothing, no like thing to say this was mine. That man could have went and like sold that shit to a whole company, and like they could have been producing that shit in America and I didn't even know. Like I gave him a whole ass idea. Like I didn't even think about that, like because I was just such a young creative and stuff like that. But yeah, but I really stopped doing clothes when I, was trying to get to the next level, and I was trying to like see if I can get me a manager where I could like, help me get. And so I found one of my friends who worked in fashion and stuff like that. And I'm trying to tell him the things I'm trying to do. And like, he sat there and told me, he was like, Mush, I like your stuff and all, but it looks a little homemade. And that just kind of, I think that is the moment that kind of sealed the deal for that. I mean, yes, I still did my clothes after that, but then I eventually ended up moving to Baltimore. And so like the loud things I used to make didn't, like, they were too loud for there. Like in New York, you could walk around with like crazy shit or just, shit that's different and not stand out. Someone's gonna be like, oh shit, where'd you get that from? But it was a different response when I got to Baltimore and DC. It was just, but then when I came back to New York, I tried to revive it and do it again. But then I was kind of like, I'm kind of over this clothing stuff. And that's when I started the network and a story to tell and all of that. So that's kind of how I shifted from, fashion to podcasting. But those lessons, like the lessons in fashion, like were really like my core lessons on just how to like present yourself, how to tell stories online, like just all of that. Like the things I was making little commercials for my hats and stuff back in 2010. And I was like, I was having tripods and a camera in the park in 2010. Like people was looking at me like, what is this guy doing? Like, what is he doing? And so it's just like, I look at today's scape of just people making stuff online, people just being on TikTok, just making stuff. And I'm like, bro, like, this is really my time to come back and kind of just do the things that I like to do. So I think with a story to tell, you'll just see me more like creating while I tell these stories instead of just sitting there, like being like, and then I can kind of just include you guys on the process. I think that's just going to be like my new thing because it blends like my love of art. Plus, I can still do the show and tell my crazy stories while I'm doing it. And I just feel like it's going to be, and then I'll sell them to you guys if you want to buy them. They're not going to be cheap though because they out here selling like winter hats for fucking $95. So we not going to play that game this time around. But, just know it's going to be made with love by me. And, I'm rebuilding the network and re-strategizing, and the break that I took, the month break that I took is much needed. So it's time to get back to work on Bryson the Series. If you are not tuned in to Bryson the Series, then what are you doing? And if you're watching right here on YouTube, then you can go and check out the Bryson the Series playlist on our channel, on the CWF Network channel. And it's 17 episodes that you can check out. They're short, under 5 minutes for most. Yeah, I'm like gonna start to having more short stories posted. Just if you like stories, fictional stories. I have like crazy things in my head, so I'm getting back to writing. So I'm gonna write some stories and then put them online for like audio listening. So if you love audiobooks and stuff like that, that's when I'm. Ooh, is that not a fly being on me? It's weird. Sorry. But yeah, we just working, we just getting back to the network, and we're actually doing the things that we want to do so we can build our dreams out, because that's what I've always been about. And if you've been rocking with me since 2014 with the network, then like conversation with friends and all the other things that I did. So mind you, the double-sided tape that I hung that up with yesterday is the same place that I got this tape that's not sticking to the hat. You do the math. And this is why sometimes you just can't buy cheap stuff. So now I gotta go to Home Depot. Yeah, because I want to work on this. And anywho, random train of thought. But yeah, guys, so I'm just rebuilding a network right now and just figuring out like new things, like how I can just bring attention to what I've been doing. I've always rocked out by myself as a solo person doing this all, but it's like I'm ready for a team. I really am. Like, I want other people's ideas and stuff to come forward through this network. But until then, we're going to have to do it on our own. until the people come. So if you are a subscriber on the network, thank you. If you're not subscribed, it's the time to go ahead and press the subscribe button. I'm gonna keep you guys updated on my hat. So if you want to see that and a whole bunch of other stuff that I might be doing, go follow me on Instagram at @WishKing__. Make sure you follow the network, CWFP_, and at Bryson the Series on Instagram. And yeah. Oh, the network on CWF Network on TikTok. So go get the goods. I want to do more content. If you're a writer, hit me up. If you are a creative, hit me up, because I would love to chat it up with you and see what you're working on. Maybe we can start like a little group to stay motivated. Anywho, I'm about to be out of here, and you guys know everything that I always say. Be sure to tell your story, because you never know who's listening, because guess what? Everybody's got a story to tell, and I used to have mad stories to tell, and I'm getting back to that. I'm gonna have new ones, and they're gonna be the successful ones. I'll catch you next time.